All right, in this video, we're going to be looking at some layers. You've probably heard of them, or maybe you've tried to work with them, but you just can't wrap your head around it. Well, either way, I'm going to be explaining exactly how they work, and I'm going to point out some advanced features as well, such as effects or layer masks. But let's start with the basics. Your layers should be located over to the bottom right, and you should see something either labeled as background or layer 0. This layer will always be here, and it sort of acts as if you had a canvas or a blank piece of paper. It's like a default layer, so you're not working on nothing. So right now, this is all we have, but we can add as many as we want. So let's quickly add 3 new layers to set up just for this. And to add a layer, all we have to do is come down here and find the button that looks like a folded piece of paper. And if you hover over it, says create a new layer. Let's just go ahead and click that 3 times. 1, 2, 3. And as you can see, we now have 3 new layers. So let's go ahead and select layer 1. If I just left click, you'll see that it gets highlighted. Now that we're on layer 1, I'm going to go over to my brush tool, this one right here. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put something down like that. So what I just drew here is located on layer 1. And you can actually sort of see it in this box here, what I drew. Just a very small preview. You can see it right here in layer 1. We haven't touched layer 2 or layer 3. We're going to avoid layer 0 for right now. And think of layers as glass panes. If you take 3 glass panes all stacked up on top of each other and think of them each as a layer, then we have 3 layers. With each glass pane, we can draw or put something on it. Stacking these panes up again will give us one whole image. And we can edit these layers individually. The layer on top will show everything on that layer. Every layer below it will be covered up by what I drew on the top layer. This works exactly the same in Photoshop. Think of these 3 layers as our 3 glass panes. Right now, these 2 layers have nothing in them. So if I go ahead and select layer 2 and draw something, you can see that now in the small box right here, we only have that red area. And I'll just go ahead and do layer 3 as well with a different color. Draw over this, and you will see that we only get that blue area. Okay, so remember how I said we can edit these layers all individually? Well, let's say I go back to layer 1, just go ahead and select it. The layer on the bottom that's being covered up, if I want to isolate this layer, what I can do is go over to this little eye over to the left on layer 2 and 3. And if I just press that, they will go invisible. It will hide those layers. So now, right now, I'm only looking at layer 1. I can then select layer 1 and then continue working on it. These eyes are a toggle, so we can turn them on and off. So let's go ahead and turn them all on again. And as you can see, there they are. And let's go focus on layer 3. So I'm going to go and select layer 3. And then I'm going to select my move tool up here. And I'm just going to go ahead and just move my image around. And as you can see, I'm only moving layer 3 around, and I'm not touching any of the other layers. They're just staying right there. I'm just moving around layer 3. This is just like moving the third or the top glass pane around. That's really, if you want to think about that analogy again. And if you want to move, you can move your layers around. So if you want to bring a layer from the top to the bottom, let's look at layer 1, for example. We can select layer 1, and then we can left click, hold, and drag it, right? We get this little ghost layer 1 sort of deal, we can drag that up and you'll see this blue bar right here. And if I let go, that will put them in between layer 2 and layer 1. So just let go there and you see our image change. So now layer 1 is now on top of layer 2. So that means layer 1 is going to come through past layer 2, if that makes sense. So if I bring it all the way to the top, we get that blue bar again, put it on top of layer 3, and now everything on layer 1 is going to be shown first. And we can always start drawing again on any layer. We can start editing on any layer we want. So if I'd want to go back to layer 2, for example, I just have to select it and I'll just start drawing on that one again. And now if we hide that, you can see that only layer 2 was affected. And yeah. And also, if you remember from the selection tool video where we multiplied things, we can do that with layers too. So if I select the move tool, hold down the Alt button and left click and drag out, you can see that it multiplied. And now we have another layer 2 copy, because it's a copy of that layer. Just hide these two so you can see. And now we have another layer that we can move around that's exactly the same.